Apple's long-rumored headset has finally been announced. The VR in aerospace is already full of products from the likes of Meta, Sony, HTC, HP, and more. But next year, Apple's Vision Pro, coming in at a starting price of $34.99, hopes to be able to outshine any of the competition. There are some really impressive parts of the headset, and some others that are a tad disappointing. So let's take a look. Just after the presentation at WWDC, our own Chance Miller had the opportunity to try out the headset. Following a scanning of his face to get it fitted, and then his ears for personalized spatial audio, he was able to put on the headset and try what Apple's referring to as their spatial computer. And it makes sense to call this thing a computer. While some headsets on the market rely on being tethered to your PC or run on more mobile-focused Snapdragon chips, the Vision Pro has Apple's M2 chip inside, alongside a new R1 chip. The M2 chip is what runs the operating system, Vision OS, the graphics, and the computer vision, while the R1 chip is dedicated to processing the inputs from all the cameras, microphones, and other sensors, with keeping latency to a minimum a top priority. Another top priority for Apple is certainly immersion. Rather than using clunky controllers to navigate Vision OS and make selections, you just use your eyes, empty hands, and voice. Though you are able to use Mac accessories like keyboards or even a PlayStation controller in games. Within the headset, Apple has an array of infrared cameras and LEDs on both eyes to keep track of exactly where in the virtual world you're looking. And then you just select it by touching your fingers together. The interior cameras also offer what Apple refers to as Optic ID. Much like Face ID or Touch ID before it, it can enable purchases and give you access to your keychain passwords, and it relies on the uniqueness of your iris in order to keep it secure. For the hand and environment tracking, it has cameras on the bottom, sides, front, and top of the headset, and it also has LiDAR for real-time 3D mapping of your environment. Everyone that's had a chance to try out the headset so far seems to have been impressed with the fluidity and accuracy of the hand and eye inputs. Most VR systems need hand controllers with their own sensors and buttons to get the accuracy high enough, but it seems like Apple will even be able to support typing on virtual keyboards in midair without any extra devices. In the half-hour Chance had with the device, he said he did select the wrong thing a few times, but with the crown, he was easily able to go back and continue where he wanted. And that was just in 30 minutes. After a bit longer with the device, the gestures would almost certainly become second nature. Now let's talk briefly about the operating system itself, Vision OS. After booting up with the iconic Apple Hello screen, there are a lot of familiar apps made specifically for Vision OS, including Apple Music, TV, Safari, Freeform, Keynotes, Messages, Mail, Photos, and the App Store. The apps are arranged a bit like the honeycomb structure on the Apple Watch, and you can open an app just by looking at it and tapping your fingers together. But in addition to using apps specifically designed for the headset, being built on top of iOS, developers can submit their iPad or iPhone app for evaluation to see if they can run on the headset. This straightforward compatibility will definitely help make the Vision Pro a way more capable and fully featured device at launch. As expected, Apple is pitching privacy as something of utmost importance with the headset, so the system itself handles the cameras and sensors built in to understand your environment, and apps will just receive the final click input when you touch your fingers together. Similarly, the information from your Optic ID is also stored encrypted and totally locally, as you'd expect. Going back to that LiDAR and tracking, another upside of it is that with the 3D map of your environment, it can even better understand your room's acoustic properties for even more realistic spatial audio. To keep you grounded in your real environment when you want to be, you aren't forced to wear AirPods or any over-the-ear solution. Instead, the Vision Pro has audio drivers in the band just in front of your ear and directs the sound back at them to still offer perfect isolation between channels, but without disconnecting you from your real surroundings. When Chance gave this improved spatial audio a try, he said it was stunning and far better than the spatial audio you get with AirPods. Now this headset doesn't feature a transparent display like the HoloLens, which overlays digital elements with an actual view of what's around you. But Apple is still trying to let you stay connected. One way they're doing that is with what they're calling EyeSight. And no, it's not spelled with the I like their old webcam of the same name. EyeSight will let people around you pass through the elements of your digital environment so you can see and communicate with them. The Vision Pro also has a screen on the outside of the device, so it can do a sort of pass-through, showing your eyes to the other people in the room with you, which could make it easier to communicate. But at the same time, it does seem a bit dystopian if you're constantly communicating with people that are physically there with you, but through screens. Similarly, you can use the headset's camera to capture what Apple refers to as spatial photos and videos in 3D, so you can go back and relive those memories at another time. While I'm sure the act of revisiting memories in an immersive 3D environment like that would be impressive, I also feel like wearing a headset through those events would take you away from actually making those memories. One thing we didn't see a lot of from the Vision Pro, despite many other headsets making it their focus, is gaming. They say over 100 iPad games on Apple Arcade will be available to play, and I'm sure with time plenty more games will make their way onto the headset, but at the start at least, the entertainment seems more focused on the likes of Disney+, which will be a day one app for the device. 3D movies at home have somewhat come and gone with the demise of 3D TVs, but hopefully with the likes of Apple and Disney behind it, they could see an even more immersive resurgence. Chance got to try out this immersive viewing experience where you can dial in a whole new environment around you, and he went for a movie theater setting that helped keep all the focus on the movie. Watching movies and sports in a more personalized, immersive view, Chance said offered an incredible experience with a courtside point of view. There's also the option to remain more grounded in your real environment while enjoying content. You can dial that in with the Crown. The Vision Pro dims the environment around the floating window to help you focus on your content. The Vision Pro definitely wants to be a bit of everything. Game console, movie theater, camera, productivity tool, collaboration tool, and general computer, where a lot of other devices tend to have a niche in either gaming or enterprise use. But this headset's price definitely forces it into the extreme enthusiast or business market. If the presentation is anything to go by, it could certainly be a big help in terms of productivity. I've always been a fan of big, multi-monitor setups that let you maximize screen real estate. This can do that, but without the physical space of several monitors. So you can have a massive 50-inch display or larger while working on your Mac in a tight space. Things like FaceTime also make an appearance on the Vision Pro. Of course, with a headset covering your face, you aren't able to get a standard view of yourself. So instead, you can use the headset to create a virtual version of you. I'm sure it would get the point across in a call or meeting, but it does seem a tad uncanny. One of the biggest gripes people seem to have with the headset so far is the battery. It has a 2-hour battery life, which is about in line with the Meta Quest 2 and a bit shorter than the Quest Pro, but it's totally reliant on an external battery pack. You have a tether going from the left side of the headband down to the battery, which you can sit beside you or put in your pocket if you're up and about. It makes sense that Apple had to go that route though, because while the Vision Pro is made of high quality materials like metal and glass, that brings the weight up a ton. While most people who have tried it have found the headset snug and comfortable, the added weight of the battery being on your head would definitely get fatiguing. If you do want to spend more time in the headset than 2 hours, Apple helpfully noted you can use the Vision Pro all day when you have that tethered battery then plugged in. But you'll need more than a battery and a half worth to watch all of Avatar: The Way of Water in the headset like Apple was showing. I really haven't focused on the specs too much here, and the reasons for that are twofold. For one, the intricate details aren't all too clear. But for another, a big part of what separates Apple's device from others is their custom chips and software designed just for them. I can say that the headset has a greater than 4K resolution per eye, or that it totals 23 million pixels, or talk about how many cameras it has for tracking, but it's the fine details of the response time of the display, the distance between the pixels, and the software for tracking that all have to work together perfectly in the final product to create a stellar augmented and virtual reality experience. That's something that just listing off specifications can't do. But based on the experiences of everyone who's had a chance to give it a try, it certainly looks like there's a lot to look forward to when it arrives next year. This is certainly far from a mass market device, but in time, the tech will continue to improve, get cheaper, and at some point, find a wider general audience. While I won't be getting in line to have my hands on this first-gen tech, perhaps eventually we'll get an Apple Vision Air that learns from this device and can bring the price down to a more accessible region. In any case, with Apple now having their entrant to virtual and augmented reality, it should lead to more developers and creatives making their own experiences for you to enjoy and experience on the Apple Vision Pro or other headsets. Let me know what you think about the Vision Pro, and if you'd consider getting one, in the comments down below. Leave this video a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel for more from 9to5Mac.